Today on Plugin Friday, we're going to look at the very cool plugin to make sure your music is not too loud and at the right level for streaming services by using the Loudness Penalty Plugin by MeterPlugs. What is going on? Chris here from MIXDOWN Online. Now, before we start talking about the Loudness Penalty Analyzer, if you're new here on the channel, subscribe, click that notification bell. And again, guys, support me by liking and sharing this video. So what is the Loudness Penalty Analyzer? It has to do with loudness. So I'm not gonna go very deep. I want to keep that short and focus on what the plugin does. But just to make a long story short, we're talking about loudness. I don't know if you heard the term loudness war. That was when the music industry came up with the loudest master possible, and it was like kind of a war going on between who is going to release the loudest master out there. So that became a problem at some point, because the louder you have your master, the lower the quality of the music you're going to get in the end, okay? Because you're going to have a lower dynamic range, because there's a kind of a sweet spot, because if you go past that sweet spot, you're going to reduce the dynamic range of your signal. And this is exactly what happened. Now, iTunes came along, streaming services also, and that brought all the levels down. So this is to make a long story short. Now, levels are lower than they used to, which is a very good thing for us, the listeners. And this is something that streaming services pay attention to. They want to make sure the listener has a good experience listening to music. They want to give the listener the best quality music possible. By bringing everything down, you're going to attain that goal. But you need to master your music this way to attain that goal, or else you're just going to bring down a overcompressed signal. Okay, so let me get back to the Loudness Penalty Analyzer. This is basically going to help you to know what streaming services are going to do with your master. Is your master too loud or not loud enough? The Loudness Penalty Analyzer will let you know. Now, if you want to know more about loudness, I made a video with Ian Shepherd, that is a mastering engineer from England. Amazing engineer. He's actually the one behind the Loudness Penalty Analyzer plugin. Okay, so follow the link on top. So this is the video that I did with Ian Shepherd, and Ian talks in details about loudness and stuff like that. So click the link on top or the link in the description down below if you want to watch that video. But now let's talk about the Loudness Penalty Analyzer. It first started as a website. You go on the website, you select your file, you upload the file on that website, and then the Loudness Penalty analyzes your master and gives you the results. How much streaming services are going to bring down your master or bring up your master. And that will depend on each services, because every streaming service has different standard when it comes to loudness. They're all pretty close. They tend to be at around -14 LUFS, but they will vary from one service to another. For example, iTunes tends to be a bit more quieter than YouTube, and so on. But this is going to help you to get at least an average of what you're going to get when sending your master to all those services. So this is what this website did. It gave you the penalty score, and you got that for free. But now that wasn't enough, and they came up with a plugin version, which is quite amazing. Now you can insert that on your mastering session and analyze right away how your master is going to sound like on those platforms, which is great. So let's have a quick listen to what we have. It is a very simple plugin to use. So let's start by listening to that master without the limiter. Okay, so now I have an idea. Now there's no limiting and my signal is way too low. So now I know that Spotify is going to bring that signal way up by 7.2 decibels. Same for Pandora and same for iTunes. So I want to avoid that. I want to avoid the system to bring up my master, because they're going to use their own limiting systems to do so. And I want to try to avoid this. Now, as you notice, YouTube and Tidal they're not going to change anything when your signal is below their threshold. Okay, so they're not going to touch your master. So that's why I tend to stay above the average threshold. So let's bring on the limiter and listen to that again. So cool. So now, as we can see, we have different values. YouTube is going to bring my my master down by 2.1 dB, Spotify by 3.5, Tidal by 2.1, and same for Pandora, iTunes, and so they each have their own threshold point. All of them are going to bring down my master if I upload that master on those services, and I know by how much decibels they're going to do so. From this point on, I can actually reduce the limiter's gain if I want to. But I tend to stay at around just above everybody's threshold. So if I get into a -2 zone in general, I'm good. So with all the confusion we get with all the meters available, RMS, K-System, LUFS, VU meters, I think using that loudness penalty analyzer can help you to just focus on the mastering itself, get an idea on what that is going to sound like once uploaded on those services without having to focus too much on all the meters, numbers, and so on. That can be distractive at the same time, which is good to check in general, but you always need to use your ears. Okay, so now let's play that again, and I'm going to click on preview. And what that is going to do, the preview option will actually have you listen to how that is going to sound like once on YouTube, Spotify, and Tidal, and so on. So now you can hear that the level just has been reduced by a couple of decibels. So from this point, I know I'm in the zone, and it's for me to decide if I want to keep it that loud or if I want to reduce the loudness just a bit. But for sure, I know that I don't need to bring it higher. They're going to turn it down anyway. So there you go. So this is the loudness penalty analyzer, which is a very, very cool and useful plugin when mastering a song and upload that song to streaming services. So if you want, you can first try the web version by uploading a master. It's going to give you the same numbers, but without being a plugin. So if you want to put your hands on this plugin, the plugin goes at $49, but it's on sale right now at $29 for a limited time. So check it out if you're interested. Links are going to be in the description down below. So there you go, guys. This is it for today's Plugin Friday, the loudness penalty analyzer from MeterPlugs. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, share and like. And if you have any comments or questions, leave everything down below. And again, if you're new, subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss anything. All right, guys, I'm going to wish you a nice weekend. Talk to you soon.